I'm told that it does. Wow. That's like magic.
Just like the microphone is, because this is how I really sound when you speak into this.
And everything changes. Before we continue, I'd like to mention a few shout-outs. Thank you to the Philip James Band for providing music compliments of Philip James Gianni. We've got some people that we would like you to acknowledge. Mark Molinaro, who will be joining the Trump administration overseeing urban mass transit, is with us tonight. Of course, our good and longtime friend, the Honorable Ed Cox, Chairman of the New York State Republican Party. Mike Sambriaco, who ran for the U.S. Senate. We have another of our wonderful Senate candidates here as well. Shel Farley is here with us. I remember being so impressed by our Attorney General candidate, Michael Henry. He's here with us. Former Lieutenant Governor of the state of New York, Betsy McCoy. Excuse me, I have to ask the good father a question. Isn't it permissible to pray for a politician's victory? Is it, or is that like, I mean, I'm a Catholic guy.
I can't take
Is
sides.
it okay? Can I beseech the Almighty?
Why not?
All right. Please, God, let the people elect Maud Marin as Manhattan DA. Oh, Joe Pinion is here, former U.S. Senate candidate. Louis Molina, Commissioner of the New York City Department of Citywide Administrative Services. And now, to introduce the Republican National Chairman, we'll bring back to the podium our chairman, Jerry Cassar.
I hope you're enjoying yourself. We were honored, really, to have the Republican National Chairman, who frankly doesn't live around the corner, end up at the Union League Club tonight with us is a great honor. Actually, I don't actually think we've ever in the history of the party have had the honor of having a Republican National Chairman address us. So I first met Chairman Whatley at an election integrity training event last June in Nassau County. The chairman had been traveling the nation, participating in these events, and all sorts of grassroots building events as part of the lead up to the most important national election of modern times. Personally, I found him knowledgeable and engaging. I mean, having served as the state chairman in North Carolina and the general counsel to the RNC, I knew that he understood the nuts and bolts of the political process. The chairman has served as a federal law clerk, senior Bush administration official, and chief of staff to Senator Elizabeth Dole. He has also held many senior national campaign positions. My wife Janet and I were fortunate enough to attend the Republican National Convention. As national chairman, Mike Whatley had countless roles, from the technical to the colorful. And I was talking to him earlier because what they did was, we didn't know, and I know no one actually knew who the vice presidential candidate was going to be. I realized tonight he didn't know either. But he had a different responsibility than us. He had to turn that convention into a day of Vice President Vance. And he was able to do that with maybe a couple more hours notice than the rest of us. I mean, that shows ability, that shows leadership, that shows great knowledge, and any of us involved in politics knows that he was operating on a scale 100 times harder than we have to do, but it has to be done. there's just no measure for failure. It was a national convention to me anyways, and I've been to a couple of Republican national conventions. This was like the perfect event and an excellent jumping off point for the final phase of the Trump Vance Team's march to election. I am not going to give Mike Whatley credit for the election of President Trump. I am going to give him, and our party, the Conservative Party, and Ed Cox credit for the popular vote win. No one was going to steal this election. No one was going to steal this election because of the efforts that National Chairman Whatley, Chairman Cox, people like myself, a gentleman who was our Manhattan chairman, who was supposed to be here tonight, John Saravelli, who was the national head of integrity, election integrity for the national RNC. It's a great honor for me to bring up Chairman Michael Whatley to address the vote. Thank you.
Let's give Jerry a round of applause. So as Jerry said, my name is Michael, and I'm a conservative. You know, I remember the day that I became a conservative very clearly. It was January 20th, 1981. I was a 12-year-old kid, and I was watching Ronald Reagan get sworn in as president. And while he was giving his speech, the news cut away and did a split screen to show that Iran was releasing 52 hostages that had been held, who had been held for 444 days. And even as a 12-year-old kid, I knew why Iran was releasing those hostages. Because they knew that if they did not, Ronald Reagan was going to turn Tehran into a parking lot. Which may not have been a bad idea. You know, I remember 10 years ago, this week, 10 years and 2 days, when Donald Trump came down that golden escalator here in New York and shocked the world with a very simple pronouncement that he was going to make America great again. And it wasn't just a big pronouncement. It wasn't just a sales job. He had a plan. He had a very simple and a very concise plan. He was going to rebuild our economy. He's going to restore our southern border. And he's going to make America strong and respected on the world stage again. And he ran through that primary. 16 different candidates that were in there. He was supposed to be 16 out of 16. And he won that primary going away. And then he was absolutely supposed to get, beat by Hillary Clinton. And he won that by talking with every single community across this country about his plan to rebuild the economy, to restore the southern border, to protect our kids and our communities, and to make sure that America was strong enough to protect our interests and our allies around the world. And for 4 years, that is exactly what he did as the president. So as we lined up this campaign this year, we spent no time thinking on a big picture level, what is it that we're going to campaign on? Because we knew this is who he is. This is his vision for America and for the world, which is for America to be strong and for our economy to be strong and our borders to be strong and our communities to be strong and for us to be the leaders across the world, for us to be the shining light on a hill, for us to stand up for our allies like Israel, and for us to have our enemies fear and respect us. So here we are, almost 6 months into this term. And what is the president doing? exactly what he said he was going to do. I have more fun watching TV now than I did when I was that 12-year-old kid on Saturday mornings. I mean, half my fun is watching him in the Oval Office holding court, and the other half is watching media and Democrat heads explode every single day. I can't believe he did that. He told you he was going to do it. And he's out there every single day. Every cabinet appointment, every White House staff appointment, every executive order, every action that that administration has taken has been uniquely focused. We're not focusing on any one issue on any day. We're focusing on 4 or 5 or 6 issues on any given day. Take a look at what's happening with the economy. President Trump campaigned on bringing down gasoline prices, grocery prices, and housing prices. How are we doing? Gasoline prices are down 40%. Grocery prices are down. Egg prices are down 65%. Notice the liberals don't talk about egg prices anymore. Even though we do not have a Fed chair who's reducing interest rates, housing prices are starting to creep down. And inflation is dramatically down. Everything he said he was going to do, he has done. Look at what he's doing on the tariff front. He said that he was going to upend the world order when it comes to trade and tariffs, and the trade is going to be fair for the United States of America. And when he flipped over the table on every single country, everybody freaked out. If you look at a president who accomplishes a major trade deal with the UK, a major trade deal with China, and a framework in place in Iran, over a 4-year period, that's a really aggressive trade package. He did it in 100 days. And we have 100 other countries that are at the table right now negotiating with America to bring down their tariffs and absorb ours into their economy. That is trade that is going to work for our factories and our workers and our communities here in America. You look at what the president is doing on the international stage. We're living it right now, watching Israel and Iran. The president made it abundantly clear throughout this campaign, Iran is not going to be capable of delivering a nuclear warhead to Israel or Europe or America. And I will tell you, I've not talked to him this week. I've not talked to anybody in the White House about this particular issue this week. So when every single reporter asks me what's going on in Iran, I have a fairly simple answer. The president has been very clear, Iran is not going to be a nuclear powerhouse. You look at the trips that he's already made across the country, across the world. The fact that he goes into the Middle East, he meets with UAE, he meets with Qatar, he meets with Saudi Arabia. He comes back with over $2 trillion in deals of investments that are going to come directly into our economy and with jobs here in America. And he has a stronger relationship with all 3 of those countries. You look at what's happening in the negotiations with the European Union. You look at the negotiations that are taking place with Mexico and Canada. The fact is, America is back because we have a conservative president at 1,600. Now, it would be very easy for us all to say, well, you know, the president's got this. We can check out, right? Wrong. We have a lot of work to do. The fact is, a president can only do so much. We need Congress to act. We need Congress to enact a big, beautiful bill. There's a lot of conversation because the Democrats hate this bill, the Republicans hate this bill, and everybody thinks, oh, it's just a partisan bill. This bill is the agenda that he ran on. This bill is not President Trump's agenda. It's not the Republican agenda. It is an American agenda. This bill is about extending the Trump tax cuts. It's about no tax on tips. It's about no tax on overtime. It's about tax relief for seniors who are on Medicare and Social Security. This bill right now is the most important piece of legislation that we've had in the last 50 years. Thank God that Nicole Maliotakis and Mike Lawler and Elise Stefanik and every other Republican from New York voted against it. But it's striking to me that every single Democrat in the House, whether they're from New York or anywhere else, voted against a bill that 80% of the American people support, including 71% of Democrats and 81% of independents. It is absolutely out of step with America that the Democrats are voting against this bill. But are we surprised? No, we're not surprised. Find an 80-20 issue, the Democrats are going to be on the wrong side of it. Men and women's sports, they're for it. Woke in schools, they're for it. Higher taxes, they're for it. We even have leadership like AOC going out there and criticizing the president for supporting Israel right now in terms of their attacks on Iran, and saying that it is reckless and it is dangerous for Israel to protect themselves. The fact is, on every single one of these 80-20 issues, the Democrats are in lockstep. And a lot of people come to me and they say, hey, you know, the Democratic Party, they're in little trouble right now. We see story after story about how the Democratic Party is in disarray. You know what? The Democratic Party is unified. They are unified around an open borders, inflationary spending, and a weak America agenda. That's what they are fighting for. And their leaders, from AOC to Chuck Schumer to Bernie Sanders to Jasmine Crockett, are all completely unified in opposing Donald Trump, no matter what he says. I swear to God. Sorry, sir. If Donald Trump went down and had a press conference and said, tomorrow the sun is going to rise in the east, they would go out and have a press conference and say, nope, it's not. It's coming up in the south. They would do it. They're not going to support him in any way, shape, or form. But we are a party today, a conservative party, that supports a common sense, pro-America, pro-business, pro-New York, pro-family agenda. And I really do think that what happens in New York in this next election cycle is going to be incredibly important for us around the country. We have a 5-seat majority in the House going into this election cycle. Neither party has ever had a 5-seat majority going into an election cycle. We have a 3-seat majority in the Senate. We have got to perform in this election cycle. In order to perform in this election cycle, we need to perform now. Donald Trump will absolutely continue to deliver. Vice President Vance is doing an absolutely amazing job working across the country and working around the world to protect our interests. And our leaders in the House and in the Senate are doing a fantastic job of making sure that we get there, that we get the big, beautiful bill done, that we get spending under control, that we are going to make sure that we have a border that is going to be secure after Donald Trump is president, that we are going to unleash American energy and keep our energy prices and gasoline prices low, that we are going to continue to lead the world when it comes to military strength. That is our promise to you. And when I got the invitation to come up here and speak, I was talking to Jerry about the opportunity to speak with the conservatives in New York. I jumped because I'm a conservative. I am a very, very proud conservative. And I truly believe that we have an opportunity here next year. Because in any battleground state or any battleground congressional district, there's a very simple formula for to win. And by simple, I don't mean easy. You have to have a great candidate run a great race. You have to get out the vote. You have to protect the ballot. Working with Jerry, working with Ed, and working with all of our county chairs and all of our candidates across New York, I know that we can do that. Because we just did. With Donald Trump, we were able to win that majority. We were able to win all 7 of our battleground states because he hit his marks. That is what we need to do we're already seeing some bumps on the economy. I really like what we're seeing. I won't call it a trend yet, but I do like the data that we're seeing coming out of it right now. And when we have that at our back next year, and we have the Democrats who are continuing to double down on stupid, continuing to double down on the same failed agenda that they ran on over the course of the last 4 years, they are going to give us that opportunity to run on a common sense agenda and to fight for every single family and every single community here in New York and around the country. I like that. I like that odds a lot. And I think that we're going to be in a really good position to shock the world here. And we're going to be in a very good position to make sure that we expand our majorities in the House and in the Senate. And then we're going to be able to turn around and extend Donald Trump's term in 2028. I had to laugh pretty hard. I had a reporter ask me one time, they say, have you seen the Trump 2028 hats? What do you think of them? I said, I like those hats. And they said, really? You like the idea of Trump in 2028? I said, look, I don't care if it's Laura or Eric or Don Jr. And once again, the reporter's heads exploded. Listen, the last thing that I want to mention is a word of thanks. Because the Conservative Party of New York cannot do what it does. It cannot deliver over 300,000 votes without the people in this room. You're the ones that fund that party, you are the ones that support that party, and you are the ones that make sure that Jerry and his team have the ability to go out there and work in every single New York county, in every single New York community. Thank you for being here for them, because it really truly is being there for us. It is there for Donald Trump, and it is there for this great America First movement. Have a great night. Thank you.